If you are feeling burned out managing multiple short-term rental properties, the problem likely isn't the number of properties, but your systems.
The whole system just failed.
Today, we're sharing our secrets to saving time while still delivering the 5-star experience that all guests expect.
And these aren't just hacks. These are proven strategies that we've adopted while growing our personal portfolio and also our management portfolio to 50 properties.
When we first started managing properties, it was just the two of us, and we handled everything from cleaning to all the guest messaging to practically all the maintenance issues.
And while we don't necessarily recommend cleaning your own STR, all of that worked for us for a while until it didn't anymore.
As we added more properties, we quickly realized that what worked for managing just a handful of properties wasn't going to work as we scaled to 5, 10, or 50 properties.
We were well down that road to hosting burnout, and we knew it. So we took small steps to outsourcing, and we made sure to pause and reflect and spend a little time after each new hire to make sure that everything was working as it should before outsourcing the next thing.
First, we outsourced cleaning, and then we outsourced the inspector role, which is something we'd been doing for years. And then finally, we put in place all the systems we're going to share with you soon.
Whether you're in the early stages of acquiring your first investment property or you're actively scaling your portfolio, these strategies will help you save time, reduce stress, and avoid a lot of the mistakes that we made early on.
Be sure to stick around to the end of the video because we have a new and free resource to share with you that's going to save you money and time when it comes to maintenance issues at your property. Let's dive into the video.
One of the biggest mistakes we made early on was thinking that we could handle everything on our own, but life happens.
Maybe you're sick or a family emergency comes up or there's a vacation or you just kind of feel like you need a day off. There's going to come a time where you aren't going to be available 24/7.
That's why it's so important to have a backup plan. So maybe it's a spouse or a family member or a trusted friend, someone who can learn the basics of your operations.
Or maybe it's a cleaner. They're already pretty familiar with your property and they could step in the case of small emergencies.
This is where having a sort of single source of truth for each of your properties comes into play.
Ours has pretty much everything you would need to know about a property. In our absence, there's things like access details, lockbox codes, quirks of the house, emergency contacts, trusted providers, gardeners, pool guys, etc.
We keep all of these details on a shared note on our iPhones, one per property, and we like this method because we're always going to have our phone on us and therefore we'll always have access to these details when we need it.
We can also make updates that apply and are visible to everyone anytime, and then we can share that note with anyone we need to.
In addition to that shared note, we also like to have a shared photo album that we keep on our iPhones with photos that we might need to access and share with guests on a more regular basis. For example, we have one property in our portfolio where the switch to turn on the landscaping lights is a little tricky to find.
We do describe this process in our house manual, but sometimes guests don't read that or don't pay attention to that section. So having a photo that's ready, quick visual reference to someone to send off is usually very appreciated from the guests.
You're such a lifesaver.
Another example of a photo we keep in this album is the pool controller display. Oftentimes guests, it just happened today, will mess with these buttons and we can use that photo, circle the right button they're supposed to be pressing and send it off.
It's all about like thinking through these what if scenarios, or maybe it's a resource that you're going to build up over time as you go through these scenarios, but it is a resource that we depend on pretty often.
And having these resources available to us just right there on our phones, available at any time to send to anyone who needs it, has been a big help for our business.
Another thing that's been helpful for us is to create a visual inventory for our cleaning teams.
You can set this up in a way that works best for your property and your team. For some properties, this might mean a physical binder with photos that they can flip through and reference. For others, maybe both you and your cleaner have an iPhone. You could set up a shared album with just maybe your listing photos so they can flip through them if they need to see where does this pillow go or this blanket go.
This isn't about micromanaging your cleaners. It's about setting them up to be successful because guests are going to move stuff around at your property, and Instead of cleaners guessing where to put stuff back or what's the right place, they can have an easy visual reference to go back to and make sure everything is set correctly.
This also saves us and our inspectors time in the long run because things are already where they're supposed to be and we're not spending that extra time putting things back in the right place.
Plus, using this visual reference makes sure that when a guest walks into a house, it's exactly like the listing photos that they saw when they booked, and it's that kind of consistency that really keeps people coming back.
Wow, this place looks great.
A huge part of managing multiple properties efficiently is using the right tools. And our tech stack has been indispensable to our business, helping us automate tasks and staying organized.
We use Uplisting as our property management software. This is a single place to keep track of all of our bookings, all the guest messaging, pricing, and monitor all the calendars, which is an essential tool when we're marketing on different platforms.
For cleaning and task management, we rely on Breezeway. It allows us to schedule cleanings and inspections automatically, assign jobs to different team members, and even collect photo documentation from our cleaners after they're finished with their work.
Breezeway is a lifesaver when it comes to quality control. Our cleaners upload key photos around the property when they're finished with the cleaning, and then inspectors can use checklists to make sure no details get missed.
These tools don't just help us save time, they also help us maintain a consistently high star rating no matter how many properties we're managing.
We have special sign-up offers for both Breezeway and Uplisting if you'd like to check them out. We'll leave details in the description box below.
When you're managing multiple properties, one of the first ways you're going to get overwhelmed is with guest communication.
Messages sometimes pile up really quickly when you're managing guest inquiries, you have check-ins, and maybe there's some troubleshooting going on at the same time.
That's why we rely on a combination of saved templates and personal messages to keep our communication fast and easy.
On Airbnb, for example, you can set up the quick replies function, and we have frequently used messages in here, things like thanks for booking and common guest questions have quick reply answers.
These templates save us a lot of time, so we're not typing everything out from scratch each time, but we also don't want any of our messaging to come across as generic or automated, so we make sure to add some sort of personal touch when we can.
Many guests are coming to celebrate something special, like a birthday or an anniversary, and we'll make sure just to type a little something such as, "We hope you enjoy your stay and happy anniversary," just a little personal touch in that message.
It's all about striking the right balance between being efficient with your time and making the guests feel like their stay is your top priority.
Another big time saver we've implemented is automating many of our supply purchases, and then we do bulk buys for things that aren't on automatic purchase.
When you're managing multiple properties, the last thing that you want to have to do is run to the store at the last minute for some one-off supplies.
We use Amazon Subscribe and Save for many essentials that we go through often, like hand soap, dish soap, laundry detergent, and some other things.
It can take a little bit of tweaking to get the frequency and the quantities dialed in just right, and we usually have to adjust those again during the off season versus peak season, but once you get it dialed in, it saves a lot of time.
Someday we're gonna get through our back stock of fabric softener. We kind of overbought and it's slowly dwindling down.
I knew I smelled fabric softener.
It would be easiest if we could just put everything on Subscribe and Save, but there are some items that we choose to buy elsewhere, and in those cases, we stock up and buy in bulk.
Instead of making small orders for individual properties, we like to buy a big bulk order and then distribute them to the properties as needed.
We set up each property to have a back stock of essential items in a supply closet, and then it's the cleaner's task to restock all those items during the cleaning, and then our inspector comes around, makes sure everything has been done, and they aren't the ones actually completing that restocking work.
Our goal is to remove ourselves as much as possible from the day-to-day operations of supply management. So we save ourselves time and just headspace by keeping a big backstock of supplies at each of the properties and also using those automated orders.
In the case of properties that we manage remotely, whenever we do visit, we try and buy enough supplies so that there isn't a need to restock them until we have a planned return visit.
But no matter how streamlined your systems may be, issues are still going to come up. That is just part of short-term rental management. And when it comes to common household maintenance issues or pool equipment issues, I had a lot to learn. And I'm still learning.
As time went on, we started to notice what the most common maintenance issues were, and I started to teach Kylie about those things, so I wasn't the sole kind of point of contact when it came to fixing those things.
Whether it's troubleshooting a garbage disposal issue or a dryer issue or an AC issue, there's always a sequence of questions that we start out asking the guest to gather more information so that we can figure out the next step.
For a lot of simple issues, guests are usually pretty willing to help out in the troubleshooting. They just need clear instructions like a garbage disposal issue. Look for and press the reset button on the bottom of the motor.
Or sometimes the answer to these questions will point to a bigger issue, in which case Steven will then have to go out to the property and try and fix it, or sometimes we'll have to call someone to go and fix it for us. But regardless, having the answers to those questions beforehand will make the repair process faster.
Easily repaired.
And one other thing I've noticed when it comes to communicating what needs to be repaired at a property, if I'm calling a third-party repair person, is the more I know and am confident in sharing that, it seems like we get treated with more respect and maybe pricing is not kind of all over the place. Just something to keep in mind.
We've developed relationships with various providers, and I think they've all come to know that we're generally competent at fixing most things, but we're calling them because we're not available to do it, and we trust them to do it quickly and efficiently, and most of the time that works out well. Fair pricing. So today we're excited to announce a free resource for short-term rental hosts, and that is our troubleshooting cheat sheet.
This guide has an easy to follow flow of troubleshooting steps for common household maintenance issues, and you might find this helpful in your rental properties or maybe also in your own home.
You can access the guide by going to arrivals.com/cheat sheet, and then we encourage you to kind of adapt this and shape it to your specific needs for your property.
The goal is to stay ahead of problems before they happen so that when they do happen, you have a way to handle them efficiently without throwing off your entire day.
And the best part, this kind of preparation saves you time and also ensures a top guest experience.
Once you've built solid systems and have those troubleshooting plans in place, the next step is to find ways to manage your properties more efficiently. And that's where smart home technology comes in.
With the right devices, you can prevent small issues from becoming big issues, or you can also troubleshoot and resolve things remotely, saving you trips to your property.
We have a lot of favorites in this category that we rely on to operate our business, and we also did a video about this a few months ago, so we'll link that video on screen at the end of this one, but you can also view the full list by going to arrivals.com/work smarter, not harder.
Whether it's noise monitors or smart thermostats or leak detectors, investing in smart home tech isn't just about convenience, it's about creating a smoother experience for both you and your guests. These tools have saved us hours and countless trips to properties, and we hope they do the same for you.
If you're watching this video right when it comes out, then you have picked the right week to be shopping for smart home tech for your properties, because almost all of these items are deeply discounted for cyber sales.
And you can stay up to date with all these sales and offers on our holiday savings guide or over on our LTK, and we'll leave links to both of these in the description box below.
Even with the best systems and smart home tech in place, there is no replacement for a solid team, because managing properties is a lot easier if you're not doing it all by yourself.
When we first started, it was just the two of us, but as we scaled, we quickly realized the importance of surrounding ourselves with both reliable and proactive people. The first step for us was hiring cleaners who understood the high standard that we held our properties to.
From there, we added inspectors who could go in and double check the property before the guest arrived. This step was a game changer because we knew that small issues like forgetting to clean a microwave or a missing TV remote would be solved before the guest found them.
We've also built a trusted network of third-party service providers who we can trust and count on to fix things quickly. Having go-to people that you can count on for HVAC, plumbing, electrical, pool services, and more has really saved us a ton of time when issues arise.
And this becomes even more important if you're managing a property remotely.
At the end of the day, the goal really shouldn't be to build a hands-off business. It's more about building a business that you're not involved in every single little detail, and you have a reliable team that can handle most things with some oversight from you.
We hope you found today's video helpful, and feel free to ask any questions in the comments below.
And if you want to check out that smart home video we mentioned, we'll leave that linked here on the screen.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.